Hey there, Dr. Devon Coughlin here, and I want to share another article with you that recently came out. This was on NBC News, came out September 16th, 2018, and it talked about, the title of the article was Daily Aspirin May Be Harmful for Healthy Older Adults, Large Study Finds. It found no detectable benefit seen from the regular use of low-dose aspirin for people 70 and older who don't have heart disease, researchers say. So for decades, cardiologists and primary care doctors were giving aspirin, low-dose aspirin, to really all their patients, many of which that are high risk in their 50s and then again in the 60s and 70s, even if they had no risk of heart disease in their body. And so when you look at it, this research was pretty alarming. Just in this past summer, in August, there was a researcher from University of Minnesota. Her name is Dr. Ann Murray, and she said, not only did older patients experience no health benefits from taking the aspirin, she said, we knew there would be an increased risk of bleeding with aspirin because there always has been. But she goes on to say, not only did it not decrease the risk of disability or death, it did not decrease the risk of heart attack and stroke, and there was an increase in the rate of death. So in these adults that were otherwise healthy, had no high signs of cardiovascular disease, there was actually an increased rate of death because of internal bleeding and gastric bleeding. So understand, anytime that someone takes a medicine, there's going to be side effects there. So it's always you have to be, weigh the cost versus the benefit. But in this case, a lot of times when you see blanket recommendations, like everyone should be taking low-dose aspirin, or everyone should be doing statin drugs, whatever the case may be, you'll see that as the research comes out further and further, you're going to see in many cases more people are harmed, especially people that are healthy otherwise, that are not at high risk for that problem, are actually harmed by the medication. So again, anytime your doctor recommends medications for you and you're not in a crisis situation, I highly recommend doing your research, getting a second opinion, and making sure before you go down this path of taking a medication on a daily basis that you weigh all your options and you decide if that medication is right for you. Ultimately, you got to be your own advocate. I would also recommend having a doctor that takes care of you, that has more of a wellness background or more of a holistic background, that they're not just going to be prescribing a medication for every ache or ailment that you complain of. Does that make sense? So when we look at it here, we always recommend our patients to get a second opinion and make sure and be aware of the fact that daily aspirin is not showing to be beneficial to low-risk patients, and in fact, it was actually causing more harm than good. Again, it's been Dr. Devon Coughlin with a health tip. Make sure you're reading labels, make sure you're staying up on these articles, and please share these videos if you've been helped by them.